Does the Maricopa County, Arizona Board of Supervisors owe it to Arizona citizens to be terribly transparent in election results? Hi, I'm Ron Ludders for Hub Radio Phoenix, and today we have Robert, I'm going to say this right this time, John Roberts Brakey. How's that? I did a good job.
Yeah, you are.
You got too many first names.
I do.
At any rate,
by the way, my son's John and Roberts.
Oh, gosh.
So I loaned him each one.
Okay. At any rate, he's here. He is the director of the Audit Elections USA, and he's got great credentials. Been doing this for many years. Welcome to the show. And
thank you.
Okay, so now we've determined that it is possible that Maricopa County has had many irregularities in the voting process. Now, with that in mind, what should we as citizens of Maricopa County, Arizona, and the state and the United States expect from our officials?
Hold them accountable.
How do we do that?
How you do that
They've been very, very reticent to do anything, John, to be honest with you. They have dragged their feet. They've taken it to court. They have agreed, and then they've disagreed with the Arizona State Senate, then agreed again, then they disagreed, and now they're doing a sham audit, in my opinion.
Well, they want to do a sham audit, okay, and I think that your group has done an excellent job. I guess you got a recall on, putting pressure.
Yes, we're trying to recall these guys.
And you know, the supervisors, they are responsible for elections by law. They really are the Board of Elections. And they have a responsibility to follow the law and to go ahead and make sure that elections are something that we can believe and trust. And that's something that's very much suffering right now, okay? And they have things that they could do. And first off, it was very wrong of them to reject the Senate, because the Senate, of course, has oversight.
Let me just backtrack for our listeners. Now, the Arizona State Senate has asked them to provide the machines and all the logistics and processes that are being used in this election. They have rejected that. They took it to court, which was kind of a sham in its own right, because then they asked, when they started going to court, and the state senate asked them a couple of questions. They said, well, the court really doesn't have jurisdiction over this matter. So I don't know why they took it to court. It's kind of a crazy, mixed up ordeal. But you know, John, when you have a problem and people don't want to address it publicly, and we already discussed this between you and I earlier, that fresh air is the best disinfectant.
Absolutely.
Let's get this thing out in the sun so we can all see, was this election run properly? And we're not talking about purposefully necessarily, whether it was by accident or purposefully. We as citizens desire and demand to know what's going on, and the Board of Supervisors here is not providing that.
They're not, but I'm hoping that they're going to respond, and I hope that they will go ahead and make sure that these ballot images are released, and then somebody needs to make a decision because, you know, we're talking about 2.89 million ballot images.
Now, let's back up for a minute. You and I have discussed this, but I'm not sure the public understands. We fill out a paper ballot. Now you're talking about ballot images. So do we actually have two images here, the original and a photocopy of the original
what you
ballot?
have is that there are now in the voting system two official ballots. The one that the voter filled out and the one the machine counted. The second one is an exact picture of it front and back. The machine does not count the paper ballot. It counts the picture. It's in the chain of custody. I had to sue to make sure that they weren't destroying public records back in 2016 that could prove if elections are real or not. It's very hard to get at the original ballot because it's the original. And you know what they're afraid of, Ron? They're afraid that you might have a piece of lead below your finger and you might make a mark. That's what they say.
Well, one of the arguments that they've used, John, and I don't understand this because I myself, my career was an auditor, and one, we don't release private information, and two, I don't understand if you're looking at an image of a ballot, how you turn that particular image back to the voter. I don't think that's possible, is it?
It should, no, not to the voter.
So
Listen,
the
when that
personal
ballot goes
information
into the
So
machine,
the personal information is in fact protected.
yeah, it's anonymous.
So why are they arguing that?
Because they think you might sell your vote, Ron. They might put a name on it. And then he says, hey, I got the image now. Where's my $50? You know what's stupid about that, Ron? You got vote by mail. Okay?
Oh, yeah,
now, if you're worried about somebody selling their vote, I guess you ought to get rid of vote by mail if you're really worried about that,
that is a
okay?
disaster.
But, this is, I find this so frustrating. All across the country, I have to make this argument. All sorts of arguments. I'm a specialist. They say that we know that the machines are right because we ran a logic and accuracy test. That's an important test. But it's like Volkswagen. They built 11 million cars that passed emissions worldwide every time. Why? Because they built a computer that cheated. And it knew when it was being tested. And when it was being tested, the final test, how they knew it was cheating, is because the back wheels weren't turning because they had a sensor built onto it. It knew when you plugged in it was something wrong. They knew since the steering wheel wasn't moving. The computer was built to cheat. It didn't cheat by 40%, Ron. It didn't cheat by 80%. It was 40 to 80 times over the limit. In the United States, they sold 560,000 of these diesel cars. It passed emissions over 10 years, maybe 2 million times. It passed every time.
Okay, so getting back to this, one of the things that we've argued before is that the Dominion machines, which were used here in Maricopa County, I don't believe they were used in any other county but Maricopa.
Well, Maricopa is almost the whole state. It's 62%.
62% of the state's population.
Yeah, so it's the largest.
But the bottom
vendor in the
line
state.
here is machines only do what programmers tell them to do. They don't go erratic on their own. It's how they're built in.
And by the way, it's all secret software. You can't look at it.
Okay, listen, we're going to end this. This is segment 2, and we're going to go with another segment here very soon. And I'm here with John Brakey for Hub Radio, and I'm Ron Ludders, and we will see you in segment 3.